Welcome, dear soul. Sit with me a moment, whether you're walking through your day or lying there with questions heavy on your chest. You're not alone. This space, this voice, it's for you. We just came in from the windswept cliffs, heart wide open to the horizon, and I want to welcome you into a conversation that's long overdue. You've been walking through fire, haven't you? Maybe it's still burning behind your eyes. Maybe there's a silence in your home now, one that echoes. Maybe you're left clutching a shattered life that once felt sacred. But you're here. That tells me something. Here at Narcon, we speak plainly, boldly, about narcissistic personality disorder, not just as a concept, but as something you felt in your bones. Something that reached in and rearranged your soul. We talk so we can understand. We talk so we can heal. And we talk so we can keep our hearts safe when the next mass comes knocking. Now there's a question I've heard in every trembling voice, in every coaching call, in the deep silence between sobs. Do they ever pay for what they've done? Do they ever fall? And friend, I've asked that too. Oh, I've asked it in the midnight hours, fists clenched, heart ripped open. After they walked away unscathed, smiling, arms wrapped around a new supply while I was left to gather what little was left of me. It's not just about revenge. No. It's about justice, about balance, about something making sense in this broken world. So let me say this with the weight of experience, research, and the sacred stories of hundreds I've walked with, it doesn't end well for the narcissist. No matter how shiny the surface looks, no matter the Instagram filters, no matter the fake applause echoing around their fragile ego. But before we go on, let's name something tender. Some of you, yes, even now, still love the narcissist. You've called them family. You've called them friend. You've held on to the good, the potential, the maybe. I know. And listen, love isn't a switch. You don't just turn it off. Not every narcissist walks with the same poison, and not every story ends the same. But if you've been deeply, cruelly, systematically wounded, this message is especially for you. For the ones who've watched their finances drained, their children turned away, their light dimmed one manipulation at a time. This is for you. Let's begin. You see, narcissists are illusionists. They live behind masks so thick, they forget what a real face feels like. They don't just lie to others, they lie to themselves, day in, day out. And when you live in lies long enough, reality catches up. It always does. The tragedy is, they never see it coming. Here's the truth. The narcissist lives by something I call magical thinking. That means they believe they're untouchable, all-knowing, above correction. They build castles in the sky, and then are shocked when the storm comes. They pour their savings into doomed ventures because they know best. They gamble relationships, businesses, trust, because to them, consequences are for other people. But the wheel always turns. One day they're on top, celebrated, charismatic, magnetic. The next, alone, broke, clawing at the walls of their own mind. And just when you think they've disappeared for good, they latch onto someone new, drain them dry, and rise again. It's a cycle, up and down, up and down. But listen closely, the fall gets harder every time. Because as charm fades and options dwindle, there's no new stage left to perform on. The mask cracks, the audience leaves, and reality walks in uninvited. And here's something even deeper. The narcissist refuses to take responsibility for anything, ever. No matter how many bridges burn, no matter how many hearts are turned to ash. They don't ask, what did I do? They say, what's wrong with them? That's the core of it. No accountability, no growth, just the same broken record on repeat. Failed relationship? Must be the other person's fault. Bankrupt again? Well, someone must have sabotaged them. Fired from another job? Clearly, people are just jealous of their brilliance. It never lands. Nothing ever lands. So they keep repeating the same behaviors, expecting applause where there's silence. expecting success where only ruin waits. Now you know what we call that, don't you? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. Madness. But the narcissist doesn't see it. They can't see it, because to admit fault would be to admit weakness, and weakness terrifies them more than anything else in the world. Now let's talk about something that seems to defy all logic. Why the narcissist walks away from what appears to be a perfectly good thing. You've seen it, haven't you? Maybe you were that good thing. A healthy relationship, a safe home, maybe a job that many would envy. And yet gone. Just like that. No warning, no explanation that made sense. And you're left staring into space asking, why would anyone walk away from something that was working? The answer is simple, but soul-crushing. The narcissist doesn't walk away because it's bad. The narcissist walks away because they're not in control. See, if they can't twist the situation, dominate it, mold it to serve their fragile ego, then it becomes unbearable to stay. And so, like a child throwing toys out of the pram, they'll throw away a relationship, a career, even a family, just to feel like they're the one pulling the strings. And in doing so, they leave scorched earth behind them, people who loved them, jobs that paid the bills, moments that could have grown into something beautiful. And here's the kicker. Sometimes that person they leave behind you was one of the very few who could have actually walked beside them, who had the patience, the grace, the love to endure what others couldn't. But it wasn't enough, because it was never about love. It was about power. I know, when you're discarded like garbage, it feels like the cruelest cut. But I want you to hear this. It may just be the greatest mercy of your life. You won't see it right away. You'll ache, you'll rage, you'll beg for meaning in the chaos. But one day, you'll look back, and you'll see what felt like abandonment was actually liberation. And you were saved. Now I hear the protests, but they left me for someone better looking. Someone richer. Now they've got a boat, a bigger house, a new smile. And they post it all online, don't they? They make sure it gets back to you. They want you to see. They need you to see. Because if they can convince you it's real, then maybe they can convince themselves it's real. But it's not. That's not love. That's not intimacy. That's not anything human. That's theater. That's smoke and mirrors. Real love doesn't parade itself like a new sports car. Real love doesn't scream from rooftops just to wound the one it once held close. That's not joy. That's manipulation. And let's be honest, what kind of person needs you to see how happy they are just to hurt you? The truth. The narcissist's next chapter looks just like your last one. Same script, different actor. The new relationship, that ends the same way. That shiny new partner, they'll eventually ask the same haunted questions you once did. And someday, mark my words, they'll come back around. The narcissist always circles back. Not because they love you. No. Because they want to know if the door's still open. If the supply is still flowing. If the hook still catches. Will you answer? Or will they find an empty space where you used to be, a healed soul who no longer plays the part? And let's not forget this, they make enemies. No one can go through life wounding people, tearing through hearts, stealing trust, and expect it all to stay quiet. It won't. Sooner or later, someone stands up. Someone speaks out. Someone takes action. Sometimes, it's even another narcissist. And oh, what a storm that creates. And listen, I'm not one to promote revenge. That's not the path of healing. But I've seen it. I've heard it. People push too far, don't always turn the other cheek. And when the narcissist reaps what they've sown, they twist the story, paint themselves as the victim, and cry foul to the next target. My ex was crazy, jealous, vicious, made me lose everything. No mention of the betrayal. No mention of the lies. Just a sob story perfectly scripted for fresh supply. And yet, there's another fall waiting. Because eventually, the narcissist runs out of currency. I don't just mean money, Though yes, they burn through that too, chasing the next high, throwing cash to impress or control. But I mean emotional currency. The charm wears off. The looks fade. The connections dry up. And suddenly, the tools they use to build their false kingdom don't work anymore. That's when the panic sets in. See, the narcissist who leaned on money to keep people close now finds their wallet empty. The one who used beauty to seduce finds the mirror turning cruel. And when the mask slips, when the tactics fail, when there's no one left to fool, it gets real quiet. That's when the spiral begins. That's when it really ends. Not with fireworks, not with applause, but with the slow erosion of a life built on lies. Now here's something that shakes the room, something we don't always talk about, but it's time we do. The narcissist walks through life with a distorted map, driven by what they believe should be. The mansion, the spotlight, the applause, the glory. But magical thinking doesn't build bridges. It builds illusions. And when those illusions fall apart, and they always fall apart, reality crashes through like a winter wind. Cold. Unforgiving. And here's the truth. When that harsh wind blows, when reality slaps hard, the narcissist doesn't stand and face it. No, they run. And more often than not, they run straight into the arms of addiction. Because it's easier to blur the edges than accept the truth. It's easier to pour a drink, swallow a pill, or chase a high than to admit, this is not the life I dreamed of. This is not who I thought I'd be. And no, addiction isn't unique to narcissists. Good people fall too. But here's what makes it different. The narcissist uses intoxication not just to escape pain, but to manipulate reality, to maintain the fantasy, to pretend the failure never happened. Because if the dream died, what's left? The mirror? The real self? That's too dangerous to look at. That reflection holds truth. And the narcissist can't handle truth. So the bottle becomes the mask. The high becomes the escape hatch. And every hit is a desperate attempt to rewrite the story. I'm still important. I'm still successful. I'm still in control. But they're not. And here's something even wilder. Something many never see coming. Boredom. Yes, boredom. You gave everything. Love, support, loyalty, maybe even your soul. And still, the narcissist walked away. Why? Because peace terrifies them. See, in peace, there's space. Space to think. Space to reflect. Space to feel. And the narcissist can't afford that. Stillness is the enemy. Stillness threatens the mask. So they poke, they prod, they sabotage. They create drama where there was none, just to feel alive. Just to feel something. They need chaos like a fire needs oxygen. And when you stop feeding them, when you stop reacting, when your love becomes quiet instead of explosive, boredom creeps in. And that's when they vanish. They don't just leave good situations. They abandon them. And they leap, blindly, into danger. Into bad crowds. Into broken places. Because excitement is their drug too. And the riskier it looks, the more alive they feel. But it doesn't last. It never lasts. Now here's something you might not have thought of, but it's real, and it's devastating. Sometimes the narcissist pushes someone so far, so relentlessly, so cruelly, so invasively, that that person breaks. I'm talking about explosive reactive abuse. Not because the victim is a bad person. No. But because the soul, when caged too long, when stripped of voice, stripped of power, snaps. And what comes out is unrecognizable. A scream. A shove. A crime. A cry for help dressed as violence. Not because they wanted to, but because they were pushed to the edge of what a human heart can take. And that's not just a bad ending for the target. That's a terrible ending for the narcissist too. Because someone finally saw behind the curtain. Someone snapped the mask in two. And the consequences can be tragic for everyone involved. Let me say this as gently and fiercely as I can. If you're in that place now, if you're stuck, silent, afraid your story isn't over, the narcissist doesn't write your ending. You do. You get one life, one voice, one light. And no matter how far down you feel, you can start climbing. One step, one truth, one, I deserve more at a time. And don't let anyone tell you that's delusion. That's not magical thinking, that's sacred belief. That's clarity. The narcissist bends reality to fit their fantasy. You look reality in the eye, and you choose how you meet it. That's your power, and they can never take it. Let me paint you a picture. Maybe you've seen it before. There's someone sitting alone on a park bench. Could be a bar stool. Could be the end of a hospital bed. Doesn't matter. They lean in close, eager, almost desperate, and they begin. The story, the saga, the glory days. And they don't just tell it once. No, they'll tell it to anyone who'll listen. Anyone who'll give them even half a moment. Because in their mind, the past isn't just a memory, it's a lifeline. But here's the truth, those stories. They're not even real. They're not factual accounts. They're fairy tales written by someone terrified of the present. Someone who never grew roots in reality. That's where so many narcissists end up, trapped in a loop of their own fictions, preaching greatness in a world that has long since turned the page. And listen, I'm not saying every person who shares their past is a narcissist. Of course not. But you know the kind I'm talking about. You've met them. You've probably loved one. They aren't living in the present. They can't, because the present holds too much truth. And truth is fatal to the narcissist illusion. But some do manage to climb high for a while, don't they? Some have money, political power, friends in gilded places. And from the outside, it might even look like victory. But those who rise by distortion will fall by it too. Because here's how it ends. Not with fanfare, not with love songs or family gathered around, but with tolerance. Quiet, cold, clinical tolerance. In the end, when the charm fades, when illness hits, when the money runs dry, people won't stay because of love. They'll stay because they're paid to, or because they have to. The narcissist becomes someone to be endured, not embraced. And the walls that once echoed applause fall eerily silent. Imagine that. Imagine reaching the final days of life and knowing, truly knowing, that no one's around because they love you. That there's no legacy of kindness, no warmth, only basic care, only the shell of human decency. That's what a lifetime of deception brings in return, an empty room, and a world that no longer listens. So, dear friend, if you've been haunted by the thought that the narcissist is out there living some dream life, ask yourself, why do I believe it? Is it because they told me so? Is it because of a photo, a post, a rumor? Look at the pattern, the promises, the lies, the future faking. They swore a life that never came. They painted visions of forever that crumbled by morning. Why would you trust that this time it's real? The narcissist doesn't change. The mask does, but the prison remains. They are chained by their own disorder, locked in cycles of rise and fall, high and crash, repeat and repeat, until the end. And this is not a call for pity. It's a call for clarity. Because now, right now, you have a decision to make. You've stepped out of their fog. Your feet are touching solid ground again. What comes next is not about them. It's about you. Who do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to build with these scarred but sacred hands? What will you believe about yourself now that you're no longer looking through their lens? Because here's the gift buried in the rubble: strength, insight, wisdom carved through pain. That's yours now, and you can use it. You can rise with it. Yes, there will be bad days. Days when the grief still howls, when the flashbacks claw at the peace you've built. That's okay. Let those days come, and let them pass. Because they will. But don't stay there. Don't live there. Don't surrender your life to the lie they sold you. If they distorted your reality once, don't let them keep doing it from afar. Take it back. This is your story now. Yours to shape, to sing, to stumble through if you have to. But it's yours. So today, right now, choose something. Choose a small act of defiance against the darkness. Take a walk. Call a friend. Plant a seed. Write your name in a notebook and say, I'm still here, and I get to decide what happens next. And if you take even the tiniest step forward, I want you to tell me. Share it, because your healing, your joy, your growth, it matters. All right, that's all for now. You've done enough just by showing up here. And that counts. That's where healing begins. Remy and I will be back soon. Maybe next time, we'll talk about what happens when one narcissist meets another. Oh yes, that one's been requested a lot. Until then, take care of your soul. Guard your peace. And remember, you are not the broken one. You're the becoming one. God bless. We'll see you soon.